Hello, this is Lisa. I want to apologize. I just talked to myself for an entire hour. I thought I had gone on Facebook Live, and apparently I created the live stream but never hit record. So I deeply apologize for not being on time. I actually was and created 2 full cards talking to myself. Hopefully this one goes a little better. Again, I apologize, and I hope somebody forgives me and still watches. If you're watching this live, I want to thank you and tell you to share this with anybody, any of your crafty friends that might enjoy it, and make sure that you comment, because I do want to give away some prizes. If you're watching this after the fact, please type in the words replay. You have 24 hours to get included into the drawing for the free gift I want to give away. Today we're making actually 2 cards. I've been playing around with this really pretty Z-fold card lately. I'm sorry, I'm really bad about not remembering who I saw it from. I've seen it a couple places online. I can never figure out who came up with the original design. But I did find this on Pinterest. It wasn't my idea. I did change it up a little bit, kind of made it my own, but I'm not the original creator. I just love Pinterest because there's just so many fabulous ideas. Some people are just so much more creative than I am. But they came up with these cards that kind of open as a Z fold and then tie together in a bow, making for a very pretty tea time kind of card. I love this Petal Promenade designer series paper. It's got some really pretty designs and some pretty colors, and to me it fit with the tea set theme. Hi Sonia. I apologize for being late. Like I said, I talked to myself for an hour as I hit record or forgot to hit record and talk to myself. Thank you for sharing. So for that card, for this tea time design, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how I made this. We're starting out with a card base that is 5.5 by 11. And then we're going to come in and score that. And then I've got a back piece that is 4.25 by 5.5. I've got 2 pieces of our designer series paper, and they're 3.25 by 5.25. 2 of them. And then we're going to have a white piece as well that is going to be cut to 3.25 by 5.25. I had these all pre-cut, and like I said, assembled them to myself. Okay, so there's that piece. And then I'm going to bring in our Simply Scored tool. We can also score with the Stampin trimmer. I just find it to be much more accurate using the Simply Scored because it's not relying on me to remain on a line. And maybe that's just me. But this one, I can push it up into the corner, and then there's grooves. And so I'm going to score this at 3.5, and again at 7. And that way I know I'm perfectly perpendicular and I'm exactly on my measurement. Some people may be more talented than me and not need that, but I need the help. And then I'm going to bring in the big shot, because what I did, the other people didn't have the final thing underneath. They just left their card being 5.5 by, it comes out to 4 after we get, and they just, that was their card, just like this. Well, I wanted it to be the standard size to fit in our envelope, and we could do this with just the edge showing, but I just thought it'd be extra pretty if we came in and gave it a scalloped edge. I have this die from the Colorful Seasons, and you could use anything that, if you have some scrapbooking scissors, you have other dies, a different edge, you have some of our edgelets from the past. We had a rotary blade that went with our trimmer that would be great for this. I'm giving it a little bit of decorative edge because to me, tea parties are very decorative and very fancy. And so I wanted my card to be fancy as well. If you notice, the thing is kind of moving around a little bit, and that's because I'm using the magnetic platform, which has magnets built into it. And so it's going to hold that in place. This is an added piece you can get for the Big Shot. It's not necessary. I like it because I like the fact that it will hold them in place. And that noise is perfectly normal. The first time people do it, it freaks them out, but that is normal. So there's our scalloped edge. If you don't have the magnetic platform and you have trouble with our dies moving, I might suggest a little bit of washi tape. Hello, Michelle. Thanks for joining us. I'm doing a tea party card. I'm using a new stamp set that's going to be in our Occasions catalog. It's called Tea Together. And you can purchase the stamp set, but it also comes with a set of dies. Now, the dies cannot be purchased. The dies are going to be free. They are going to be in the Sale-a-bration brochure, which is Stampin' Up's biggest sale of the year. They come out with our Occasions catalog. January 3rd, this will be available. And then the Sale-a-bration brochure that goes with it. If you're one of my customers and you have ordered from me in the last 6 to 9 months, you should have received these in the mail already. If you did not get them, please let me know because I want to make sure that you do have a set on hand because there's just some fabulous things that are in here. Our Occasions catalog is a supplement to the annual catalog, and it has, you know, our spring holidays or the late winter holidays. So we're going to have Valentine's Day, Easter, St. Patrick's Day, Mother's Day, Father's Day. It just kind of gets us through to our new catalog, which will come out in June. And then during the months of January 3rd through March 31st, we have Sale-a-bration, which is our biggest sale of the year. And if you purchase, for every $50 that you purchase, you earn credit to use in the Sale-a-bration brochure. There are many, many options you can pick. If you place a $50 order, you get one. You place a $100 order, you get two. Those are all our level 1 gifts. This is what we call a level 2 gift, and you get this by spending $100 in the catalog. It can be out of the Occasions catalog or our annual catalog, but these come free. And we all like free, right? So I did use those on this card. I cut my base. Again, the base is 5.5 by 11, scored at 3.5 and 7. And then I'm going to put it onto this piece. This is Grapefruit Grove. This is Mossy Meadow. My Mossy Meadow piece is 4.25 by 5.5, which is the standard card size that will fit in our envelopes. So I'm going to go ahead and adhere this to the front of this. Oh, there's my snail. Okay, because it's got the little scallops, I'm going to put a little bit of snail in each little scallop. Now I'm only using a little bit of the tape. Some people like cover the whole back of the thing. We don't really need to do that. People say, oh, but it doesn't stick. I've had it fall off. Well, it shouldn't. And one of the things you can do to prevent that is to rub the back with the bone folder. And what that does is that makes sure that the snail has a good firm grip. And so it's really quick and easy to do that. Oh, hi, Ramona. I'm sorry you can't stay. You can watch it on replay, though. It will be recorded, and I will also upload it to my YouTube channel. Thank you for popping in to say hi, but make sure you come back and watch the whole thing, because I'm doing 2 cards. You're going to love it. So I'm going to take the Designer Series paper, and I'm going to adhere that to the front. And I cut them at 3.5. They should be 3.25. I'll bring in my trimmer really quick. 5.25. Sorry. Hi, really threw myself off today by doing my Facebook Live all by myself. I forgot to push record and talked to myself for an hour. That's why I'm late. Again, I totally apologize. I feel really silly. So this piece is 3 1/4 by 5 1/4. I'll adhere that to the front of the card. And then I'm going to use the designer series paper on the other side. All of our designer series papers are double-sided and they coordinate very well. Coordination is what brought me into Stampin' Up. I just absolutely love that things coordinate together very well. You might wonder how I came up with this color combination that I chose to use, or the color combination used here, or here, or here. And I did that based on what Stampin' Up told me. On the back of our designer series papers and in our catalog, it will mention all the colors used in this set. So if you were to purchase designer series paper out of our catalog, it shows you what matches. You know, we have things that come in our color collections, and if you were to purchase Melon Mambo classic stamp pad, ink refill, cardstock, the markers, the ribbon, the buttons, everything, it totally color coordinates. They'll be all matching. And then the designer series paper will mention those same colors. And so you know what colors to pull out of your collection to work with it. If you're just getting started and you don't really have a large selection to work with, and maybe you don't have the colors used in here, they have used the most common or the most popular colors out of that set, and they made a special pack of paper that's 24 sheets, 8 each of 3 colors. And so these will coordinate with the stamps or with the designer series paper that you purchase, which makes it very easy to work with our stuff. So just a little tip. Back to our card. Like I said, I'm going to be working with the new stamp set entitled Tea Together, and this is a cling mount stamp set. The difference between cling mount and clear mount is the sticker on the back. All of our stamps, they come with, I mean, you can put the sticker on the back or choose not to. Some people have chosen not to put the stickers on the back because they say it sticks to their block better. I always do because I like to know what I'm stamping, especially when there's sentiments. But Stampin' Up! Has now fixed our problem in that they took and they made the stickers on the back now extra sticky. So they will now totally stick to our blocks and they're not going to fall off. The problem in that is that they stick really, really well. And so some people have had issues getting them off. And I want to give you these tips before you purchase any, because we've had a month to work with these things. And so we've kind of figured out some of the little quirks about them. Now, you saw in my old sets, I've always kept the red rubber and been able to shove the stamps back into the holes. So this tells me at the end of a class or the end of a party that I've gathered all of my stamps. On the inside, I usually have a clear envelope, and this is any extra pieces that I may have stamped and cut out but didn't use. So on my next card, I don't do that again. I keep everything that goes with each stamp set with the stamp set. But I started saying, if with the cling mount, because they're so sticky on the back, if I was to try to put them in here, they would stick to the case really well and be hard to pull off. So in my first set that I assembled of the cling mount, I took the sticker sheet and I adhered all the stickers to my stamps. Now you saw that was kind of hard to pull up, and this is kind of a waxy paper kind of feel. And when you get them, you want to kind of pull up from underneath. You want to make sure that you're not grabbing just the gray foam. You want to be under the sticker and pulling the whole thing. And the wax paper on the sticker sheet helped it come off a whole lot easier. And it still gave me the little holes that I wanted to show me that all of my stamps were put away. Someone mentioned to me that that was a great idea, but they wanted to be able to take the sticker sheet, because the whole thing's sticky. I mean, all of these pieces, they're still sticky. And they want to be able to use these to put on the backs of our clear mount stamps, because these are not sticky, which works fabulous. You just want to make sure that it goes to an edge, because again, when you're pulling it off of the block, you wouldn't want to have a small square in the middle so that when you pulled an edge, you didn't quite get the sticky part. But assuming that you were going to put it on and you were going to have a good way to make sure you could pull it off of the block, they were using these to make the other stamps cling mount so they won't fall off the blocks. So what I did was I took the back of this, when our stamps come out, there's usually the white piece of paper on the back. I took that and I glued it to a piece of wax paper. And then that still gave me the ability to put this in my case, have all my little holes, so I know where everything goes. And like I said, the waxy paper kind of feel makes the stamps pull off much easier. So just some tips I want to make sure that you know before you go ahead and order, because if you want to be able to use these, or you want to be able to mount them in the case, I wouldn't want you to throw these away. So just a tip. I will go back to my card. The card we're making is going to be a Mother's Day card, I think. So, oh, this was another tip. If, you know, to pull these off, you want to make sure you get your fingernail underneath the sticker, so the sticky part comes with it. You're not just pulling off the gray foam. If you have trouble with fingernails, or you don't want to use, we've got our pickup tool, has a great little spatula on the end. You could put a piece of washi tape under the thing, so then you have something to grab hold of that helps you pull it off of the block. I mounted it on the block by putting it onto the grid paper, making sure that the lines underneath went straight with the lines on the stamp. And then I'm going to take this and I'm going to make sure the edge of my block is straight with the edge of the grid paper, and go ahead and pick that up. You could stamp this on the Stamparatus, which I do recommend, because the Stamparatus grid on the top does have the lines that will help you keep everything straight. And if you were to stamp it and it wasn't quite even, it would allow you to stamp again in exactly the same spot and not have to worry, and it would fill in. Yes, you do. This is a great setup. I love this stand. It would be great for your soap making and for your makeup. So then I'm going to use the flower, and I'm just going to accent the bottom of this by stamping in the corners. And then I'm going to come in and color with the Stampin' Blends. And so let's see, I'm going to come in and just color in. Now this is the fine tip end, and there's also a brush tip end. You could use either. And I'm just going to color the one flower. You would get the idea. And you want to color it with the second color while they're still kind of wet, because the wetter it is, the better it's going to blend. And then I'm just kind of flicking out of the corner with my second color. It's just going to give me some shadowing. This is, light Calypso Coral, and this was light Pumpkin Pie. I didn't have any Stampin' blends in this Grapefruit Grove, but I think that matches pretty well. So you get kind of the idea. On the other cards, I had stamped with embossing powder. I stamped in Versamark and then used silver embossing powder and then heated it up because I feel that the heat embossing with that ridge there, it gives it a more elegant feel, which, you know, I always think of when I think of tea parties, is they're kind of elegant. But I'm not going to run my heat tool on camera. I know some people don't like that because it just makes a lot of noise. So I'm just going to go ahead and stamp in Smoky Slate. Sorry, I had these all pre-stamped on the first time and then forgot to hit record. So silly. Okay, so there's our teapot. And then here's the teacup. And then I'm going to do some extra flowers. Let's see. And then we would color these in. This is Smoky Slate in the light. And so I would color the entire teapot. Now you could come in strokes or you could come in small circles. I've heard the small circles kind of give you a softer edge and make the lines look less dramatic. I'll try to be quick. Thanks, Ashley. I'm glad you liked your Christmas card. I sent out quite a few of them. I hope they arrived. When I mail cards, I have to try to be careful that they aren't too thick. Some of the ones that I took in had dimensionals on them, so something to keep in mind if you ever make cards and you want to mail them, that you want to make sure you buy the non-machinable postage stamps, because if they are too thick, if they've got dimensionals or pearls or buttons or something on the front of it, it might be too thick to go through their sorting machine. Another thing I want to point out to you guys is there is going to be a price increase on stamps January 27th. So if you haven't done it already, go out and stock up on your Forever stamps because they're raising it 5 cents. So it's going to go from 50 to 55 cents. And if you want to know if it's too thick and needs one of those special stamps, you can use our Stampin' trimmer. And they have the edge where the blade goes back and forth. That's the same thickness that the post office wants to keep their letters to go through their machine. So if it won't fit through the groove on our Stampin' trimmer, then it won't fit through their machines. Okay, so I've done with the light. I'm going to come in with just a little bit with the dark. just where the highlights would be. Now, if you feel that, again, that's too dramatic and you don't like the darkness of the dark, you can come in with a little bit of the light over it and it'll help blend it some more. In the little cup, I wanted to have a little bit of a shadow, but not have it stand out. So I took the lightest color I could find, which is our light petal pink, and I'm just gonna add just a little bit of highlight, because I felt when it was just all white, which is kind of what I wanted, it was too white. So if I give it just a little bit of this extra color, then it's not quite so stark. And so I'm just, again, like putting it where the shadows would go, or just giving it some accents, trying to be light with it. And then I'm going to come back in with our color lifter, which is just going to help blend it. So this will help it not have any sharp edges, so it will just truly be an accent. So I'm kind of starting at the color and pulling away from it. And then we would color the flowers the way we want them. And then, like I said, we have the framelit dies that come with it, or coordinate with it. This is something you can earn for free out of our Stampin' Sale-a-bration brochure by spending $100 on other product out of our annual catalog and occasions catalog. You get these for free. There are also very many items that you can get for free for a $50 order. So if you're planning on ordering, make sure that you select your free items to go with it. You wouldn't want to place a $49 order and miss out on the free stuff, right? So, trimmer again. So I'm going to trim this just so it's, you know, not too wide for the big shot. And then I'm going to come back in with my magnetic platform. And now these are all going to be different dies, and so I can put them all on at the same time. They don't necessarily have to be all run through separately. So as long as I can find the little magnets under there correctly and they don't shift, we should be able to do this in one pass. I don't know if you can tell, but the magnet just kind of sucked it to the plate, which is really nice. If you don't have the magnetic plate, I would suggest maybe a little bit of washi tape to hold them in place. Oops. Okay, that one's not gonna want to go on this one. The smaller dies have a little bit of an issue because of the way the magnetic platform was built. If I pull this up, you can see. Let's see if I get the right angle with that light. There's little circles. I don't know if you can see them, but each circle is a magnetic piece. So the whole, it's not a flat magnet, it's a bunch of small circles. And so with the smaller pieces, you kind of want to place them over one of those magnets. Oops. Make sure I have my... Okay, see, this time it's grabbing better. It's not shifting because I've got it right over one of those circle magnets. So here's our pieces, and of course I would color the flowers in as well. Okay, then I'm going to adhere the teapot with snail. Just getting little pieces on the handle. I'll put that down with the snail, and then I'm going to put this down with dimensionals to give it just a little bit of lift. There we go. And then in order for the closure, what we used was the pink shimmer ribbon. And I used 20 inches. Oh, we could also use this one. I think that's the right color. Let's see how this looks. Let's be different. This is another free item that you can get in the Sale-a-bration catalog. It comes with a $50 order. You get 5 rolls of ribbon. Yeah, that'll match. Okay, so I need 20 inches. So I'm going to use the little measuring thing on the bottom of my grid paper. And then I'm going to just put a little bit of adhesive across the middle of my teapot. And then lay the ribbon over it. And so that's going to make sure that it stays put there, and then I can bring it around and wrap it and tie. Okay. And then I have that smaller flower. What I'm going to do is I'm going to color this in, and then I'm going to set it right over the top using the mini dimensionals. I love the mini dimensionals. I used to cut the big ones in half all the time, and now I don't have to anymore because they make them in this cool new tiny size. Now again, this would be colored in. And you would place that there. And then I'm going to go ahead and adhere this on the inside, and I'm going to color this one. Then you just come back and tie a bow. Easier said than done on camera. If you are talented at tying bows, I totally admire you. Okay, so anyway, you would fidget with it, make it just the right size, you know, a little smaller than that. And then I use my ribbon scissors to cut a little flag at the end. I have special scissors that I use just for my ribbon, because once you use them on cardstock, they're not quite as sharp on ribbon anymore. But this is, like I said, this is the free item. This is considered one item, is all 5 of these rolls of ribbon for a Sale-a-bration brochure special. The second card that I made is this cute little Valentine's card. Now I had planned on doing the tea time card ahead of time, and then I saw this on Pinterest last night, and this was just so cute. I forget who did it, but I just kind of caught it as I was flipping through and went back to watching TV, and then on a commercial I thought, I'm going to go down and try that. And so during the commercial I whipped out this card. It's very fun. I just took a heart framelit and a branch die. This is out of the Colorful Seasons set, which is what I used the scallop out of for our last card. And it does this really cute little branch. You could stamp it as well. There is a stamp that coordinates. Any kind of branch, I guess, would work. Oops. See, it's pulling to those little magnets. There we go. Then for this card, I used a smoky slate base and a cherry cobbler layer with a white layer over the top. But the Take Your Pick tool has a little pointed end that you could poke into these little holes that makes the die release the paper. You can also use our Sizzix brush for that as well. If you notice on here, I've got what looks like snow. I did that by using our, this is shimmery white embossing paste. And we have a set of spatulas that come with it, or you can add. They're sold separate, but they go together. And I'm just going to take a little bit of the embossing paste and I'm going to rub it on the top edge of this little cutout. Now, if you have our old heart punch, that would work great too. If you don't have any hearts and you need some, there's a cute little set in our New Occasions catalog. I'm going to put a lighter layer on this time because I want to make sure it dries. I don't want to make a mess with it on camera, because I did this ahead of time. I put the snow on and then I let it sit to dry before I assembled my card. But I don't have that luxury right now, so we're going to go ahead and plow forward. Come in with, let's see, I want this to be 4 1/8, because I want a 1/8 inch border, and then 5 3/8. And then I can take my Whisper White layer, make sure this is straight, and then that's going to go over the top. I was going to use the Balmy Blue paper, but I decided not to because it was a little, I don't know, on the dark side. I mean, it's still sky blue, but it's darker than I had intended. So what I did is I used our Balmy Blue ink, and then I used a sponge and I sponged it on. And this also allowed me to do kind of like an ombre effect, so it was darker up high and lighter below. And you could do this with sponge daubers. You could do it with, these are stamping sponges. I just cut it into wedges. There's also a sponge roller. I think they call it a sponge brayer, but it's just basically a sponge roller that would work great for this as well. It might be a little more even, but again, I wanted it kind of blotchy. So then I'm going to start assembling my card. Okay, now I just did this with snail adhesive. You may want to consider using the liquid adhesive. I will use the Tombow sometimes when I'm doing these little teeny tiny borders, because it gives you a little bit of wiggle room. It doesn't dry instantly. It gives you some time to move it around and make sure that you've got all your edges symmetrical. I've been doing this for too many years to talk about. so I tend to wing it a lot. So then I'm going to come in with our little branch, and what I want to do is I want to have it hanging from a string. And so what I used was our white, Whisper White baker's twine, and I just had a little piece dangling. And I have this one, which I've had for a while, and it's on this wrapped cord. And if you'll notice, every time it wrapped around, it kind of gave this bump. Now you can iron this out, you can run it through a flat iron. I mean, there's lots of things you can do, but Stampin' Up! Said we don't want you to have to do all of that work. It should just work for you. So what they did now is they started putting them on rolls. And so they'll come on a thing that it doesn't do those kinks anymore. But what I'm going to do is just add a little bit of the liquid glue. Now, if I'd been smart, I probably would have used our adhesive sheets, because if I had put the adhesive sheet on the back and then die cut it, then it would have just been a sticker. I just peel off the back and it would have instantly stuck. But I wasn't thinking that far ahead. So I'm just using some Tombow glue. You could also use the fine tip glue pen, or I have seen some people that have actually put the glue on a little plate and adhered it with a sponge. That's another thing you could do. I'm going to find this little spot in the branch. Oops. I'm going to adhere it to my card. Now, if I have a little bit of extra, you can, if you got like sticky where you didn't want sticky, you can use a gum eraser, which you can find in just an art store, or if you have one of the ones we used to sell, those work. But it allows you to just rub and it'll lift that glue right off. This works with the liquid glue and it also works with the snail. So if you ever have glue in a spot where you don't need it, you just rub it with the eraser and it comes right off. Just a handy little tip. Now I'm going to take the snow-covered heart and I'm going to have it coming out of the bottom of the string. And I'm going to come back with a little more of the baker's twine and I'm going to make a little bow. If you're at home stamping alone, you'd probably take a little more time and not waste the extra, but I'm trying to be quick, to be mindful of your time. But I'm just going to go ahead and stick that there. You could also do this with a glue dot. That would have an instant stick and works really well with things that are not flat. But there you have it. There's a really cute little Valentine's Day card. So we had our Valentine's Day card and then our tea time card. So I hope you liked those and that you can put our ideas to use. I do want to, again, I can't emphasize enough how excited I am about Sale-a-bration coming up. If you are wanting to get into Stampin' Up, or if you have a, really long wish list, I want to throw something out there for you. I know everybody says, sign up under me. But right now, for Sale-a-bration, they have some awesome deals. And for placing an order during Sale-a-bration, like I said, you get to choose one of the free items that's going on. So for every $50 that you spend for tax and shipping, you get to choose a free product. And then there's an even bigger reward if you wanted to get some of the free stuff. for $100, you get to choose bigger things like the framelit set that we use today. And then for those that have a wish list bigger than that, I want to share. Should have preloaded these images. I apologize. A new deal that we have coming up. I mean, it's always a fabulous time to join Stampin' Up. Usually we have a deal where you pick out $125 of merchandise, anything you want out of any of the catalogs, anything current, and you pay $99 and get free shipping. And then you get what they call a kit. It's kind of a choose your own kit. But during Sale-a-bration, they're upping that, and they're allowing you to choose $175 worth of stuff for just the $99. And that's with no hitch whatsoever. They're giving this extra special because it is Sale-a-bration, and they are just celebrating. This is our 31st year. And as an extra added benefit, our option 2 is you can get $175 worth of Stampin' Up! Product, plus our new craft and carry tote, which is this super cute little tote that will hold all the supplies. And it's very versatile. It has dividers in the middle that allow you to sort and put your stamps and, you know, your various things in little compartments, and it all stays organized. And then those are in there with Velcro. So if you wanted to, you could pull those things out. With them in there, the 2 smaller side pockets, those will hold like stamp sets and pens, you know, all sorts of things. And then the long section in the middle is long enough to even hold our trimmer. And then if you pull all of the things out, it'll hold the big shot, which is an even bigger deal, because we haven't had something to carry the big shot in a while. And it's super cute. It's branded with the Stampin' Up! Logo and has our 30-year anniversary little flower attached to it. It's very sturdy. It's made of canvas. It has an additional strap that comes off, makes it easy to carry around. But you get all this fabulous stuff. You know, like I said, you for $99, you get $75 worth of product, any product that you want. And then you become part of what we call creative royalty as either a business demo, if you want to make a business out of it, or you can become what we call a hobby demo. And don't be thrown off by that, because I think 90% of the demos out there are what we call hobby demos. And they just have this really long wish list. They didn't want to pay full price, and they joined Stampin' Up! So that they can purchase their own product at a 20 to 25% discount. There are a few minimums to remain a Stampin' Up! Demo. They're small. I mean, we're talking like $100 a month retail, and you pay less than that. So it's less than $100 a month. But you don't even have to do that. I mean, when you sign up as a Stampin' Up! Demo, you have the full first quarter to meet your minimums, which, because we've already started the new Stampin' Up! Quarter by January 3rd, the first quarter doesn't count. So January through March are like freebies. Then you get April through June to make your minimum. And if you don't, which, you know, how could you not within 6 months? But if you don't make the minimum, then you get July as a pending month, which means that you're they're waiting to see if you're going to make your minimum. So you can maintain your 20 to 25% discount for almost 7 months with no obligation whatsoever. If you decided you wanted to purchase your $175 worth of product for $99 and then never touch anything on the Stampin' Up! Demo site again, you don't have to. You can just drop, and there's no penalties. And you can even sign up again later if you decide you wanted to add it on. So, I mean, as much as I'd love to sell you everything at full price and earn my commission, I love that. But I also want people to be happy. I want you to buy product that you love. I want you to be able to use it. I want to be able to help you use it. As a part of my creative royalty team, you get special privileges from me, Plus, I'm under Mary Fish, which means you would also become part of the Stampin' Pretty Pals. So you get kind of a double bonus there, which is nice because she's got a fantastic group of demos online. And there are people that are hobby demos that just maintain their hobby status because they want to be part of that community, because we share ideas and we brainstorm for one another. We've got a prayer group where we, support one another. It's just fabulous. I love our Stampin' Up! Community. I think some of my best friends have come out of stamping. Because my slogan is there's no stress in stamping. I mean, we want this to be fun. Whether you're a customer or a demo or just hanging out, we want you to have fun with stamping. And that's what Stampin' Up's all about and what I'm all about. So, like I said, I just wanted to make sure that you guys are fully aware that that opportunity is out there. I would hate for you to find out from someone else and say, why didn't you tell me? I just bought all this product from you for full price and you didn't tell me I could have got it at this great discount. So now you know. You can get it at a fabulous discount. So anyway, I would get off my little platform. And like I said, January 3rd is when everything is going to go live for our new products out of the Occasions catalog. So those things are coming. And then the Sale-a-bration will start January 3rd as well, and that will run through March 31st. As I said before, you get the extra bonuses for placing an order as a customer. If you place a customer order of $50 or $100 or even a little bit more, you get to pick free things out of the brochure. Say you spend $50, you get one item, $100, you can get either the big item or two of the smaller items. And then they're going to have new things February 15th. So there's that. And then this will run all the way through June when we get our new annual catalog. So this is our Occasions catalog, which will have Valentine's Day and Easter and Mother's Day and Father's Day, all those, spring, early summer holidays. So that's all going to be featured in our Occasions catalog. Like I said, all of my customers should have already received one in the mail. If you would like to become one of my customers, I do have what I call a VIP group, which is an extra Facebook group where I add people who purchased from me that are my customers. And I put up probably over 100 tutorials this weekend alone, where I will upload a picture of a card and then a PDF tutorial that goes with it. I give extra little tips, some free giveaways, we're going to start having some fun in this group because I want to be able to spoil my customers. There's a lot of people that come and they just watch me and then they buy from someone else, and that's fabulous. I love to be able to teach you. But if you're going to give me the privilege of being your Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, then I want to be able to give you something special in return. So there is that. I feel like there's something I'm forgetting to tell you. But just stay tuned. Keep an eye on my Facebook page and make sure you sign up for my newsletter. There's also, whenever I send out a newsletter, it's got the latest and greatest going on with Stampin' Up. It's got our specials that are going on. It's got some specials that I offer to my newsletter people. And then there's also free PDFs that go with that. So again, just for following me, being a customer, receiving my newsletter, there's some extra goodies in it for you. So I think that's it. So thank you for joining me. And again, I apologize that I went through my entire spiel with nobody out there. I got it all set up and then made all my cards without ever hitting record. How lame is that? So anyway, thank you for joining me, and remember to hit replay or type in a little comment, something that lets me know, because within the next, after 24 hours have expired, I'm going to do a drawing and somebody's going to win something for free. Ashley said, is that the one you used for the leaves? Yes. That stamp, the framelit that I used for the branch, the leaf was out of that same framelit set. Yes. I did do some bookmarks for Ashley's wedding. So anyway, thank you for joining me, and I will see you back on Facebook. Thanks a lot. Bye.